Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to our behind our brand Monday morning brew. And this morning, I'm using this cup. I don't know if you guys can see it too well. It says you're doing great. I had a really dear friend send me a thank you gift this past weekend. It's full of a lot of different items. I'm going to post about it later, but so many different things, and it just really, really, really blessed my heart. But I hope that your Monday is starting off well, and I hope you're ready for our brew for this morning. So, y'all know I say it all the time, that I would love for your input whenever we do these because, as I always share, people really do go back and they review the comments and see suggestions and things like that. And so, for today, I wanted to pull from a quote that I posted a long time ago. And I'm looking down a lot because I'm making sure my notes are here because there's something very specific I wanted to say today. And so, I'm pulling from a quote that I posted maybe a couple of years ago where it says, "Meet me where I'm at, not where you want me to be." And I wrote a whole post about it, and it got a lot of conversation started. And I believe it speaks to a lot where I'm hearing from many of you where you are at, where you're in a season of your growing, you are working on a number of different projects. You're out here just trying to better yourself and do different things. And some people are not comfortable with that. Some people are not liking that. They feel like you change. You're not the same person. You're not this and you're not that. And sometimes there's that inner turmoil of you don't want to lose your friendships, but on the same token, you don't want to be stagnant and not continue to grow. And I find so many women enter into that space. I even find sometimes when I go to different functions where someone will start talking about someone and say, oh, they changed ever since they got this new position, they're different. And it's sad because oftentimes people can grow. And yes, I know there's that variance where people can become totally different. But at the same token, if people are uncomfortable with your growth, that speaks more about them than it does about you. So I want to read real quickly something that I wrote that I wanted to share this morning in particular, because I am working on a little something. If you guys have noticed on a few Monday morning brews, I have shared from things that I'm writing, but I'm in the process of writing something that will be ready for the world next year. But here's a version of this. Okay, so the question that I posed was, how do you deal with people who can't accept that you have grown? And I wrote, you accept that some people were only ever comfortable with a version of you that stayed within their expectations of you. And now that you've grown, maybe you're thinking more critically, maybe you're speaking with more clarity, making decisions with more confidence. And sadly, it unsettles them because it doesn't meet the expectations or version of you that they have of who you are. And this is not because you've done something wrong, but because you've stepped outside of the role they once assigned you. Growth doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it's choosing not to respond the way you used to. Sometimes it's choosing better for your peace, your priorities, your future. You don't owe anyone an explanation for outgrowing conversation spaces or patterns that no longer align with where you are. People who can't see your evolution may never admit it, but they feel it. And that discomfort is theirs to sort through, not yours to carry. So keep becoming quietly, boldly on purpose because growth isn't about who accepts it, it's about who you are called to be now. And you don't need permission to walk in that. And I wanted to cover that today as a reminder because I know that so many of us are walking in new seasons. We're walking in new places. We're probably even meeting different people. And oftentimes, people may not be, in your life, may not be comfortable with that. And the thing is, that's okay. I'm a big believer in I never like to burn bridges. I don't like to um, lose relationships, but I've also realized too that oftentimes I'm not burning them. There's times that people will cut you off because they're not comfortable where you're going. They will step back from you because they're like, man, she's doing this and she's doing that. She's not going to need my friendship anymore. And the thing is that I've had to learn over the years not to take that on. I used to be that person, y'all, that would like try to be two different people. Kim that is growing and Kim that wants to make sure I maintain all these relationships because I don't want them to feel bad. And I realized what was happening was is that I wasn't showing up in a real way. And I was becoming bitter and I was becoming frustrated and I was becoming all these different things that I shouldn't have been becoming just because I wanted to grow and challenge myself and learn differently and be a part of different conversations and do all these different things. There was nothing wrong with that. And that's why when I posted, meet me where I'm at, not where you want me to be, because I found that so many of us have been in those seasons. And in this moment, I'm going to pause. I would love for you to share if you've experienced this, where maybe you've gotten a promotion. Maybe you decided that, okay, in this season, I need to be over here so that I can do this or that differently. When you've been in those seasons, how did you navigate those relationships that felt like you were changing, those relationships that kept saying, oh, you're becoming different, you're not the same, and all the different things that people say when they're not comfortable with your growth? What did you do? How did you handle that? Please post below and share that, because I know hearing different ways of handling it can help someone walk through this season. For me, I had to really start owning that it's okay for me to grow. It's okay for me to have new people in my life. It's okay for me to step in new territory. And as long as I'm not hurting nobody and I'm not over here acting like I'm bitter, bigger, better, any of those things, it's okay. I always try to treat people the same no matter what. But if they're not comfortable with the change, that is not for me to carry. Like I said here in this one part here at the end, because growth isn't about who accepts it, it's about who you are called to be now. And you don't need permission to walk in that. So I just hope that in this short Monday morning brew, that this serves as a really strong reminder that don't shrink back. Don't stop moving forward. Don't question that because people are not comfortable with your growth, that maybe there's something wrong with your growth. I'm going to encourage you this morning that wherever you are, whatever you're building, whatever you're doing, to keep pressing forward no matter what. Part of life, and we all know this, and there's a quote that I'm sure we're all very familiar with, is that in relationships, some relationships are for a lifetime, some are for a season, some are even just for that moment. And the hardest thing is that we don't always know which relationships in our lives fall in those categories. Ideally, we would love for all of them probably to fall into the forever category. But the truth of it is that some relationships are not going to be able to walk into the season that you're walking into. Some relationships are not going to be a part of the next level that you are being brought into. That is sadly the truth, but it's the truth that the quicker we accept that and understand that and move with grace and understanding, you move into those seasons with the understanding that, hey, I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm not saying I don't want you in my life, but I'm also not going to shrink back to make you feel comfortable where I'm going. If you would like to still be connected, would love that. But if you can't do that in a healthy way, I'm going to have to keep moving forward. And that's a decision that sometimes you just simply have to make. So I would love to know from each of you, just your experiences, what advice you would give someone who may be navigating this in their season of life. What would you say to someone right now that maybe they're struggling with being in that space where I'm growing, but I'm losing people. People are saying I'm changing, but I know I'm not. I'm just moving into different spaces. What would you say to them? And let's post that below. All right. So I know this was a little bit of a shorter one today, but I hope that it serves as another reminder just to keep moving, keep growing, and don't shrink back. That's the word I keep hearing more and more as I'm saying this. Don't shrink back to fit narratives, spaces, places, people, environments that you've outgrown. Don't shrink back because you don't fit there anymore. All right. I hope you guys have an amazing, blessed week, and I can't wait to see your comments below. All right. Be blessed, everyone.